On a Tuesday morning in late May, Donald Reeves answered his landline to a voice he didn't recognize, asking about his second property on Linden Court.
I don't own any property on Linden Court. You've got the wrong person.
The broker sounded confused. He read back an address, a house number Donald had walked past for nearly 2 decades.
That's on my street, 2 doors down.
The broker kept talking, lower interest rate, cash out equity, as if Donald had signed those papers himself.
Who is listed on this loan?
The answer came back flat and final. Donald Reeves, co-borrower since 2013. Then the broker asked if he wanted to lock in today's rate.
I'll call you back. 11 years. Someone has been living in my name for 11 years.
He didn't finish his coffee. He grabbed his keys and headed for the door. The man never rushed, but today he did. Donald drove the short loop to Linden Court, every mailbox a countdown he hadn't asked for. He slowed 2 blocks before his own house and pulled to the curb, eyes on a porch he'd seen 1,000 times.
Gregory and Brenda, 18 years of cookouts, and one of them has been wearing my name.
He didn't get out. He sat there with the engine off, letting the shape of it settle into his chest.
A whole second mortgage, and I never felt it. That's the worst part.
He drove home in under a minute. Inside, he went straight to the computer and ordered his free credit reports. The reports loaded one by one, clean scores, no late payments, nothing out of place.
Of course it's clean. Brenda paid on time every month. That was always the trick.
He pulled up the county property records portal and typed in an address.
Let's see what else has my name on it.
He typed in the Porter address, and the county page loaded with the mechanical slowness of a government server. The mortgage details unfolded. Co-borrower Donald Reeves, origination date August 2013.
Co-borrower, not just a name on a form. I'm legally on the hook.
He clicked on the deed tab, and there it sat. Donald Reeves, 50% owner, joint tenant.
She didn't just borrow my credit. She anchored me to their house.
He sat back, and the memory surfaced whole. Brenda, years ago, offering to help him with tax paperwork. She'd worked at a small mortgage brokerage, had access to blank forms and notary stamps.
That's where she got the signatures. Out of my trash, out of my trust.
He closed the laptop gently, as if the machine might shatter if he moved too fast.
11 years of payments, of hiding in plain sight, and she thought I'd never look.
That night, Donald lay in the dark, the ceiling fan counting off the hours.
Brenda's smile had always been too polished. Now he understood why.
She used to say it was important to protect the house, as if she was the only one who could.
The 50% wasn't an accident. It was an escape route. If Gregory ever walked, she'd still own half. A silent insurance policy written with my name.
The calculation turned his stomach. 11 years of friendship built on a forgery.
I could walk over there right now and end it. But then Gregory would know, and that marriage would collapse on his head.
He rose before dawn and went to the garage, moving in silence.
I'll collect everything first. Every document, every record. When I move, there won't be a shadow of a doubt. She built this house of paper. I'll make sure she's the only one it falls on.
3 days later, Donald walked into a law office on the quiet side of town, a thick folder under his arm. Sarah Chen built her practice on real estate fraud. She didn't do small talk, just gestured to a chair.
I've got a situation involving a mortgage I never signed and a neighbor I've known for 18 years.
She opened the file, scanning the county deed. Her expression stayed flat, but the pen in her hand went still.
This is textbook federal mortgage fraud. Whoever doctored these documents could face a 10-year sentence.
What if that person has been making every payment on time and her husband has no idea?
Sarah set the page down and looked at him, reading the conflict in his jaw.
You can file criminal charges, and that household shatters overnight. Or you can pursue a quiet settlement that protects the innocent party.
I'm not here to destroy Gregory. Show me what the quiet path looks like.
Sarah picked up a clean legal pad. The quiet path, she said, would require an agreement the other party would sign without ever seeing the trap. Over the next week, Sarah subpoenaed the original mortgage application. The signature on the bottom right was a near-perfect copy of Donald's, but the loop on the D was wrong. She paired it with bank statements showing Brenda Porter had made every payment manually, never missing a month. 11 years of payments, not a single automated withdrawal. While the paper trail thickened, Donald kept his routine. On Friday, Gregory waved him over to the porch with an easy grin, grill tongs in hand.
Donald, bring some steaks over Sunday. Brenda's making her layered salad.
The salad that tastes like resentment now.
He agreed, saying no would raise questions he wasn't ready for. That evening, he called Sarah from the garage, the lawnmower muffling his voice.
If this blows up, I need Gregory to walk away clean. I don't want him to look at me and see the man who wrecked his life. Not after 18 years.
There's a way, but you'll have to own half his house to do it. You become the monster she's been writing for a decade?
Then that's what I'll do.
2 days later, Donald returned to Sarah's office, where a settlement document lay on the desk like a loaded pistol.
We call Brenda in, show her the forgeries, and she signs this. Her half of the house becomes yours, or we file charges.
And if she signs, I'm suddenly a co-owner with Gregory. What's to keep her from running straight to him?
The same thing that kept her quiet for 11 years, fear. She'll sign and pretend nothing happened.
The document was brutal in its clarity. Brenda Porter would relinquish all ownership interest to Donald Reeves.
A silent coup. I'm not stealing her house, I'm holding the collateral she built.
Donald insisted on 2 conditions. Gregory must not be present, and the meeting would be disguised as a casual invitation.
I'll invite her for coffee under the pretense of a neighborhood watch. She'll come. She's always wanted to be the helpful neighbor.
Sarah placed the notarized draft in a plain folder and handed it to him. Don't let her leave without the signature.
Now I just need to get her alone, with that folder on the table between us.
That Thursday, Donald stood at his living room window and watched Brenda wave goodbye to a mail carrier, all polished warmth.
She waved the same way when she offered to help with his taxes, back when his files were still in cardboard boxes.
The memory was a splinter, Brenda slipping a tax form into her tote bag, laughing about clutter.
That's where she got them, right out of his own kitchen while she smiled.
He stepped outside and crossed the lawn. She was in her garden, pruning roses, her back to the street.
Brenda, got a minute? The neighborhood watch is meeting at my place tomorrow. Could use your insight.
Oh, I'd love to, Donald. What time?
10 o'clock sharp. Coffee's on me.
She touched his arm and promised her famous banana bread. He didn't flinch.
Tomorrow, you'll find out what you really baked into that loaf.
Friday morning, Donald woke before the sun. He checked the living room 3 times. Chairs aligned, coffee brewed, the file open.
He'd read each page twice more. The loop on the D was all the evidence anyone needed.
Sarah arrived at 9:30, briefcase in hand, no small talk. She placed her documents beside his and sat. The settlement agreement lay on the coffee table, the blank signature line waiting like an empty hook.
18 years of neighborly trust, about to be traded for a signature on a single sheet of paper.
He heard the familiar engine first. Through the window, her sedan eased into the driveway. The doorbell chimed. He opened the door, the same calm smile he'd worn yesterday already in place.
Right on time, Brenda. Coffee's fresh.
I've been looking forward to this, Donald. The Neighborhood Watch can really benefit from some organization, don't you think?
As she settled onto the sofa, Donald's expression flickered for half a breath, then hardened into stone.
Isn't anyone else coming? I thought the Neighborhood Watch had more members.
She glanced at the empty chairs, then at the unfamiliar woman beside Donald, a note of uncertainty creeping in.
There is no committee, Brenda. I needed to talk to you alone, about something that started 11 years ago.
Her smile dissolved. The coffee cup in her hand went perfectly still.
11 years of someone else's name on your mortgage, and you thought I'd never find out?
Brenda's face drained to white. She opened her mouth, but no sound came. He reached to the side table and lifted a plain manila folder, then set it in the center of the coffee table between them.
Inside are copies of the original mortgage application with your forgeries, the deed, and the settlement you're going to sign.
Brenda's eyes dropped to the folder as though it were a live wire, her breath coming shallow and quick.
That folder holds 11 years of her life, and she knows it.
He removed the application, finger on the wrong loop of the D. The forgery laid bare.
This is not my signature, but it's close enough to fool a bank, isn't it, Brenda?
I don't know what that is. Someone else must have.
Before the excuse could land, he placed the deed beside the application, his name circled as 50% owner.
And this, you gave me half your house, not Gregory me. Why?
Her mouth worked, but no sound followed. She shook her head in small mechanical jerks.
The payments came from your account. Manual transfers every month. 11 years of careful hiding.
Federal mortgage fraud carries up to 30 years. Identity theft adds 15 more. The DA won't need a motive.
Brenda's hands clenched white on her lap. The practiced warmth of the neighbor was gone, replaced by a woman shrinking into a stranger.
She's cornered. She knows it. Now let's see if she has the sense to sign.
The silence snapped. Brenda's face crumpled, tears carving paths down her cheeks. The polished neighbor was gone.
I was scared, Donald. Scared Gregory would leave and I'd be left with nothing. So I made sure I had something quietly. I made every payment, every month, on time. I thought if the bank never complained, you'd never look. 11 years and I was invisible.
You miscalculated.
Without a word, Sarah pushed the settlement across the table, the signature line stark and waiting. Brenda's hand shook as she lifted the pen. Her nails, perfectly shaped, were white on her lap.
It's this, or federal charges. Either way, your marriage ends today. You decide.
The pen hovered over the line. Brenda's gaze darted to Donald, searching for some crack of sympathy.
She won't find it.
The room held still. 11 years, one signature, and the slightest tremor of her hand. The pen scratched once. Brenda Porter signed away her claim on the house, the ink darker than her tears.
11 years. Undone with a single stroke. He felt nothing.
Sarah stamped the document, her notary seal crisp and unyielding. The legal transfer was complete. Brenda rose without a word, her handbag clutched like a life raft. She did not look at Donald. The front door clicked shut. Sarah gathered her briefcase, her expression unreadable.
You now own 50% of your neighbor's house. What you do with it is your choice.
For now, I do nothing. Gregory still doesn't know.
The living room felt larger in the silence, the coffee on the table gone cold.
Thank you, Sarah. I'll handle the rest from here.
Sarah nodded and let herself out. Donald stood alone among the scattered documents, the weight of a neighbor's house settling on his shoulders. That night, the Porter house glowed warm across the lawn. Donald watched Gregory moving in the kitchen, unaware.
If I stay silent, I'm an accomplice to the lie. If I speak, I destroy a man who's been my friend for 18 years.
Morning came. He stepped onto the driveway, cell phone heavy as a stone, and pressed the call before he could stop himself.
Hey, Donald, what's up?
Gregory, I need you to come by tomorrow morning. There's something important we have to discuss.
Is everything okay? You sound serious.
It's not a conversation for the phone. Just come at 9. I'll have coffee.
The line went quiet for 3 seconds. Then Gregory's voice came back, smaller.
All right, Donald. 9 o'clock.
Donald hung up and stood alone on the asphalt, morning sun warming everything but his blood. The countdown had begun. At 9 on the dot, Gregory's car pulled into the driveway. He walked up the path with an easy stride, still holding his morning coffee. Donald opened before the bell rang. His face was stone. Gregory's smile flickered but held.
Morning, Donald? You sounded, well, I'm here. What's this about?
Donald led him to the living room, the same coffee table where Brenda had signed hours before.
Gregory, do you know who owns half your house?
What? Brenda and I own it. What kind of question is that?
Donald didn't smile. Gregory's laugh died in his throat, his face turning from confusion to raw uncertainty. He slid the deed across the table, the name Donald Reeves circled in yellow beside the 50% ownership clause. Gregory's eyes traced the document. The sound he made was not a word, but the start of something breaking. His hands began to tremble, the paper crinkling between his fingers like dry leaves.
This has to be a mistake. A bank error. Brenda would never.
It's not an error. She used my tax forms, forged my signature, and filed the loan herself. She worked at a mortgage broker, remember?
No, she's not. She's my wife. We've been married 35 years.
Donald placed the bank statements in front of him. 11 years of manual payments, every one from Brenda's account.
She made them on time. You never knew because she hid it perfectly. And she put my name as 50% owner as a safety net in case you ever left.
Gregory's knuckles went white around the paper. His breath came in short, uneven pulls, as if the air in the room had thinned.
You're telling me she planned this? Like I was the enemy?
She was scared. She wanted insurance. But she used me and she used you.
Gregory slumped into the chair, hands falling limp, the documents scattering around him like shed skin. For a long moment, the only sound was the clock on the mantel, ticking away the remains of a marriage.
I'll sell you my half for $1. But you take these documents and you decide what happens to your marriage.
$1. You're giving it back for nothing.
I'm not doing this for money. I'm doing it because you deserve to know what she built behind your back. I'm not pressing charges. That's your choice now. Take these, go home and do what you need to do.
Gregory gathered the papers with the care of a man handling something dead, one sheet at a time. He stood, the papers clutched to his chest, as if losing them would finish what had already started.
Thank you, Donald. I wish you'd been wrong.
Donald opened the door. Gregory walked out like a man underwater, each step a moment farther from the life he'd known. Donald watched from the doorstep, the weight of what he'd just handed over settling in his own gut. The real storm was about to break 2 doors down, and for the first time in weeks, Donald truly felt the stillness of being the messenger, not the destruction. That evening, Donald sat in the dark of his living room and heard the first shouts carry across the lawn. A door slammed. A woman's crying cut the air, then muffled into silence. He didn't move. Later, through the window, he saw Gregory alone on the front porch, head in his hands. Gregory didn't look up. He just sat there until the porch light went off, and the house swallowed him back inside. Morning came with a knock on Donald's door. Gregory stood there, eyes red, still wearing yesterday's shirt. He didn't step in, just stood on the threshold, clawing at a word.
I'm filing for divorce, Donald.
I'm sorry it came to this, Gregory, but I couldn't let her keep using me.
Gregory nodded once, a sharp jerk, then turned and walked back to his empty house. That night, the divorce papers lay on his kitchen table, signed. The marriage was over. The next afternoon, sharp daylight cut across Donald's kitchen table, where the 2 men sat like patients waiting on a diagnosis.
Sign this. The house is yours alone again. No strings, no hidden names.
It'll never be the way it was, Donald, but I'll sign it.
His hand shook as he signed. The pen scratched once, then twice, and the deed recorded Gregory Porter as sole owner. Donald took the $1, tore it in half, then ripped Brenda's settlement agreement, the pieces fluttering onto the table between them.
It's over.
Thank you for making me see what I was living with.
Donald slid a tissue box close, but Gregory didn't touch it. He just sat, hollow. The silence that followed wasn't peace. It was the hush of a fire that had burned all the way out, leaving only ash and memory. Gregory rose, the deed in his pocket, and left without looking back. Donald watched him go, the weight of his own house suddenly lighter. The following morning, a single knock on the door. Gregory stood on the step, a small duffel in his hand, his face less broken than it had been the day before.
I'm heading out for a while. staying with my brother. But I couldn't leave without saying this. You didn't just give me back my house. You showed me what I was blind to. I'll never forget that.
You deserve the truth. I just wish it hadn't come from me.
Gregory set the duffel down and extended his hand. Donald took it, the grip firm and warm.
Don't be a stranger, Donald.
I'll be here. Always.
Gregory climbed into his car. The engine turned over, and the sedan drifted down Linden Court until it was just a glint on the pavement. Donald stood on the drive until the sound faded. Then he walked back inside, the house quieter than it had been in years. The street was still. The sun hung low over the rooftops, apricot and gold. Nothing had changed, and everything had. Days later, the sound of a moving truck cut through the morning quiet, deep and diesel. Donald, behind his mower, didn't pause for it. Brenda emerged from the house with a cardboard box, sunglasses hiding her eyes. She loaded it into the open trunk of her sedan. The lawnmower droned on. The gap between them was a wound that neither glance could stitch. She didn't look at him. He didn't look at her. The sedan backed out of the drive and slid away, leaving a vacant house behind.
She was never going to face me. That's what 11 years of fear does. It builds exits, not apologies.
He mowed the last strip of his lawn, the fresh-cut grass scent mixing with exhaust. The routine was the same. The street was not. 2 days later, a real estate sign sprouted on the Porter lawn. The house sat hollow-eyed, waiting for new voices. Donald watched from his porch with a cup of coffee that had long gone cold.
The grass grows back. The shadows move. But a neighbor used his name for 11 years, and that won't wash off with the rain.
He finished the last sip, set the mug down, and picked up the garden hose. The street was still, but the silence had a new texture, hard-won and permanent. One morning, a moving truck rumbled up Linden Court and parked in front of the Porter house, its doors swinging open before the engine cooled. Donald watched from his porch, a fresh cup of coffee steaming in his hands. The aroma mixed with the morning dew. A young couple emerged with children, laughter spilling across the lawn as they began carrying boxes.
New faces, new stories. The street was healing itself.
The man spotted Donald and lifted a hand. Donald raised his own, a slow two-finger wave, steady as a salute. They looked like they belonged, like they'd plant roots deeper than the last ones.
He'd never stop checking the county records, but that was a small price for peace.
He took a sip, the coffee still warm. The sun climbed higher, gilding the rooftops of Linden Court. Linden Court looked the same as it always had. Manicured lawns, quiet asphalt, the hum of summer. And Donald Reeves sat on his porch, knowing exactly how many laws had been broken on his front lawn, and that he had mowed right over them.